This meeting is being recorded. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Why We Vote. We have wonderful guests here, City Councilwoman Erica Norton, and we are going to be discussing ARPA funds. So a lot of you people probably don't understand, what's ARPA funds or what is that? We're talking money today. We're talking funds that can help everybody, throughout the city of Federal Way, small businesses, and so forth. It's money that was given by the federal government during COVID to be distributed out to the state and then also through counties and cities. So the city of Federal Way did receive ARPA funding. They received approximately $19 million. And so there has been some concern around how that money is being spent, how they're deciding to spend it. I know a lot of y'all out there are dealing with huge rent increases, right? Like, my goodness, I know a lot of my friends, they're talking like, oh my gosh, my rent just went up by $100 or went up. I've even heard $500 a month. People are not making an extra $100 or $500 a month, right? I mean, everybody didn't get a raise at the same time. So, people are really hurting right now, and this funding can really help. But it's all up to the city. So, speaking with Miss Erica Norton. She's going to help us understand and break down the information as well as fill us in on a little bit of the tea. This is the reason why we vote, so that we, people are making decisions on our behalf, on our community's behalf, for major things like ARPA funding that can help us all. So welcome.
Hello. Hello.
It's great having you on here. I know I just did like this whole long intro spiel or whatnot. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's start there. Tell us where you're from, background, what have you, whatever information you want to give to us.
I've been living thank you for having me on, Felicia. I appreciate it. You are an amazing human being, and I love talking to you. So, of course, I'll do this show. Well, I moved to Federal Way, I guess 13 years ago, and I moved here from Tacoma because I fell in love with somebody that lived in Seattle. So we bought a house halfway between our cities of choice, and this is Federal Way is where we came. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I moved here when I was a little girl. My parents moved us here when I was, I don't know, like 9 years old or something. And so I've been living in this area a long time. So I do consider myself to be a Washingtonian. I love this state. And I love living in Federal Way. I love living here. I've had a wonderful time. We live in a great neighborhood. And so I'm one of those people that I stay in my little box. I go to work, I come home, I go to Costco, and that's it. And so when I ran for public office, people started telling me stuff like, these things are going on and that's going on. And I'm just like, psh, I had no idea. And so in the last year and a half, I've had a really great chance to have my eyes open to what's really going on. And I know you can say, oh, how can you be this stupid? Well, people like me who are introverts, who stay home with their husband and watch Netflix, that's what we do. I mean, we're boring. We just work and we stay home. People like me have no idea what's going on outside our little world. And it's been very enjoyable. But now I'm seeing that there are people in need here. We've got a lot of issues in Federal Way, and I had no idea. So I've made it, it's important to me to try to help as much as I can while I'm in office, because I don't have any agendas except to do the job I was supposed to do, which is make a budget and make ordinances and then try to help people. So that's all I really care about.
That's awesome, though. And thank you for, being here and advocating for us and educating us here on the show. And throughout the community. You are awesome. The work that you've done has been great.
Thanks.
So let's get to it. We're talking about ARPA funding. Can you I know I kind of gave a little bit of an overview of ARPA funds. Do you want to kind of explain to everybody what ARPA funding is?
It is a relief package that was taken from federal tax dollars. So this is federal tax dollars. Where do the feds get their money? From us. So you know how those taxes are taken out of your check? Every time you get a check, a bunch of money is missing from what you earned. Well, the government takes that. So what they did was allocate $19.1 million of your money to the city.
Wow.
And so now it's our job as a city council to suggest how it should be spent. And what's happened? Do you want to know what the allocations were, what the suggestions were? Or?
Yes. We have a total of what, $19.1 million. And
19.2.
$19.2 million. Wow, that's a lot. So with that, we want to know, how are they looking at spending it? There have been a few meetings, I will say to everybody, there have been a few meetings, and I'm going to go ahead and put the link to this document that has the breakdown, one of the breakdowns of how they were proposing to spend the funds. So,
it's not public. It's not a public record. I sent that to you. Somebody printed it off and gave it to me, so I'm just letting you know. That's tea that I spilled. So you weren't supposed to have it. Sorry. Yes, welcome to the world of Erica. I tell the truth.
Yes, transparency. That's what it's all about.
Well,
love that.
That's what you got. You voted for me, so I'm just going to tell you what's going on. So this was broken into 6 sections. And the first section is labeled public health and economic impacts. And that is divided between 2 organizations, the Chamber of Commerce for $750,000 and the Federal Way Mirror for $300,000, which kind of rose. I had a question about that because they're not public health and they don't have any economic impacts on the community, because the Chamber of Commerce is a club that's for the benefit of its members. And the Federal Way the Federal Way Mirror is part of a very large newspaper group. And this is just one of their offshoots. So I was confused. We subsidize the Federal Way Mirror quite heavily already. They've already get hundreds of thousands of dollars from the city. So I was a little concerned, and so does the Chamber of Commerce.
They already get funding from the city?
I don't think the paper would exist if we didn't put ads in there, because they don't get a lot of business. So, and the city is required by law to have a newspaper where we can publish ads and notifications. So we have to have a newspaper in our city. So we subsidize the newspaper so that they can exist, because they don't really have, you'll notice if you get the paper, it's paper thin. There's like maybe 3 or 4 pages to it. They don't have a lot of advertisement. And I think there's 3 or 4 people on the staff. I'm not really sure. But it's a very small organization.
Interesting. So I looked them up. And I saw on this website, it's called zoominfo.com, that the Federal Way Mirror makes approximately $1 million to $5 million of revenue per year. So
yeah, that's great.
That doesn't sound like the struggle to me.
No,
I mean, honestly, there's a lot of small businesses, that make a lot less than that, and they're not being subsidized by the city. There's a lot of other places. I mean, Federal Way Black Collective, for example, we put out information, and we put out different information and resources for small businesses, and yet we're not specifically listed on there. So why would the Federal Way Mirror be listed on there when they have a revenue of $1 million to $5 million, and to be continued, to continue to support them. Also, when they're charging people to place ads, also, right? So not only are they charging for a membership, but they charge people per ad that they place in there. You would think that if they are being subsidized, let's say by the city or state or something, that
and that's your money.
they would
Remember, it's your money.
Free, right? That they would
You're
offer
already paying for it.
Exactly. So if that's the case, and they're saying, oh, well, you know what, it would be too much for us to offer free advertising for businesses. What about for people for obituaries? Why not that? They're already grieving, they're already hurting. Why not allow them to honor their family members for free? We're paying for it, so is it really free? But I mean, it's just kind of, I kind of have a hard time with that. And it's not that I don't support local news, because I absolutely 1,000% do. And I think that we should. However,
Alicia, you are supporting it. Your taxes are supporting it.
You're absolutely right. You're
absolutely
paying for it. I should say beyond and continuing to in so many different ways. I've looked over other, proposals from other cities. I did not see any proposals to support any newspapers.
Really?
So yeah, I found it to be a little interesting there.
Well, maybe you should look up who is a member of the Chamber of Commerce, directly or indirectly, who is on the city council, and then look at the people who work at the Mirror and look and see who's related to people on the council that way. And then you'll find out why they got their own category. This is called cronyism.
That's what I was about to say. So it sounds like there's some rubbing of elbows and friendly good times there. And that's the reason.
Well, there's good news. The Chamber of Commerce withdrew their request last week at the city council meeting. And
I want to get to that here in a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Because that's a whole other wowza that you just told me. I didn't even know about that until you just told me like a minute ago backstage. So
it was a good night for me.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get there. But yeah, kind of going back, to the Mirror, that's definitely also something that personally I find interesting. I mean, I think that there's different members of the community, I'm sure, that put out news and information all the time, that promote other businesses all the time. So I don't, anyways, moving along. You mentioned the Chamber of Commerce. We're gonna go ahead and skip over that one for a second.
Okay.
But I would like to kind of talk about the other different categories that are listed on there, just so that people can hear it. Maybe if they aren't able to pull up the document, that they know the different categories and kind of a general idea of what was presented kind of back in what was it, the July 19th meeting.
Okay. Yeah.
And by
July
the way,
19th,
everybody,
that's what it says down here.
You guys can all go to the City of Federal Way YouTube page and find this meeting where they're discussing the ARPA budget and the funding. And it is listed as a special city council meeting. And the date was July 19th.
So was this document that I sent you, was this available online through the city? No. You got that from me, because I never got anything digital. I got this handed to me on a piece of paper.
Really?
and it was not released digitally. That's why I'm trying to tell you that this was not supposed to be released. At least nobody
Interesting.
told me I couldn't. I
Huh.
just thought you might find it interesting. So that's why I sent
Absolutely.
it to you. Yeah, I scanned it because that's what I do. And you see my notes on the top of it because I was taking notes during the meeting.
Hmm.
So do you want to go down to the next category?
Yeah, let's go through the
So
categories here.
they're saying that they're going to hire administrative costs of ARPA program. So they're saying $950,000 is going to go to part-time grants coordinator. Um, that's crazy. That's a lot for one part-time person. Boy, wow, I want that part-time job.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that amount?
$300,000 for, well, it's $950,000 that will be given for one. It says it must be two part-time grants coordinators. A grant writing services, they're going to so they're paying someone $400,000 to write grants, a company,
I mean,
instead of just hiring a grant writer.
right, because
Let's say a consultant.
to my understanding, grant writers make anywhere between, 25 to like 45, 50 an hour.
Yeah,
Could be more, but
but
generally
it's
that's what that
better to
is.
hire. No, it's actually better to hire a consultant firm who's going to charge you $400,000 to work on your stuff a little bit, instead of a full-time person for $100,000, including
Right.
benefits.
Right.
You know, so I think it would be better for us to spend more money that we don't have for less work. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That the
Yeah.
community
I
could
talk. I
really
talk till I'm
benefit
blue.
from.
No, I talk till I'm blue in the face about this. Nobody listens to me. So, because what do I know? I just own a business. I'm not a full-time politician who goes to meetings for a living. I just run a business, so I don't really know what I'm talking about. ARPA administration costs. So here's another ARPA administration cost, and that's $650,000. There's no itemization here. So I don't know what went into the thinking behind the $650,000. But I wasn't part of the secret club that put all this together either. So,
I thought that everybody, I mean, I'm not a part of,
so did
that
I.
whole world, right? But isn't
No,
everybody supposed to make that
no.
decision?
So the deputy mayor, the council president, and then the head of the FedRAC committee took it upon themselves to form their own ad hoc committee without telling anyone else that they were doing it. And then they came to us and told us what we were going to do.
Is that how things normally work, or?
In this city council, yes.
Oh,
I don't know. This is my first time being a politician, so I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. I just
interesting.
know that I don't get told a lot of stuff. They bring things. I get surprised. Let's just put it that way. I get surprised. And then I have to go and research after the fact to find out what kind of BS is in it, so that I can be at the next meeting and say, hey, you lied about this, 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 and this, and that's a lie, and that's a lie, and that's a lie. So can you please explain that? Because I don't understand. Thanks. That's basically been this whole year for me.
Wow.
It's been fun. No, that's why I have a bad attitude, and why, like, if you look at the last meeting, I got angry because it's just, I'm getting to here with it, especially with this subject right here is what's got me really heated. These funds weren't given to us to do this with it. Right. This is supposed to go back to the people. So that's why I'm so heated. And please excuse my attitude problem. This bothers me.
I'm
I'm
passionate
very
about it.
irritated.
You're passionate about the people. You're passionate about,
This
making
is
sure
their
that,
money.
right,
This is
right.
their money.
Hmm. So let's
This
go
is
line
my
by line.
money.
It is. It
My
is.
money. I want it to go
Yep.
to something that's going to benefit everyone and be for the good of all,
Right.
not to a club and a newspaper. That's crazy.
That is
Think about
definitely
think about
different.
how many people's could get their rent paid for 1 month
Well,
in
and
this
that's the
city
thing too.
with $1 million.
Most of the rent assistance has been it's dried out
Yeah,
from
I
most
know.
of the organizations.
So why are we
Um,
talking about this? Why are
People
we
are
sitting here
still
talking about this
struggling.
and not releasing these funds?
Right.
That's what I want to know. But no, with
Right.
a million, 1,050,000 dollars, divide. How many people do you think? How many households? We have 100,000 people in this city. So let's say
Mm.
50,000 people are struggling. If you divide, I'm just saying. So if 50,000 households are struggling, I'm just going to say half of the population is struggling. I'm willing to bet it's more. So let's just raise that to 60,000 people. I'm going to just get my little calculator out. $1,050,000 divided by 60,000 people. Wait, no, god dang it. Hold on, I'm just going to do it. Hold on. Let me do it. My husband's like, it's not that much divided by 60,000. Oh, it's $17.50 a piece. That's not that much. But I'd rather give everybody $17.50 than give it to two organizations. So, and now just think how little that is. Do you understand how little that is?
Right. Well, and also, I mean, inflation right now, the cost of groceries, the cost of gas. I mean, it's everything has gone up significantly. People are hurting right now. So to hear
Wow.
that, you're saying $1 million, close to $1 million is going to two places that are actually already funded in a way is a little sad to hear. So continuing to go down the line, let's see. I believe there is, so you discussed the administrative. I guess we're on essential hazard pay.
Okay, essential and hazard pay. So that's one. I believe that's going to the police officers.
Hmm.
So or it's going to people who work during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So it's giving them bonuses. Okay, here's one thing I'm going to say. The people who work for our city, who are the administrative staff for City Hall,
Mm-hmm.
are, in comparison to other positions of similar grade, are paid quite a bit less than other people. We also did not give our people raises for 3 years, and they stayed. Many people stayed.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did is we authorized a raise for these people. Most of the people who work at City Hall are doing two jobs, and I'm not kidding
Wow.
you. We're running on a
Wow.
skeleton crew. So it's imperative that we raise the level of what we're paying them and give them a good living wage.
Right.
And because they're the ones doing all the work,
Mm-hmm.
so we want to keep these people around. And I think it's important that we at least try to match or come close to matching what other people are earning in other cities.
Mm-hmm.
And at least that way they'll feel like they're appreciated. So we
Yeah.
did vote to give them raises, and I think that is on government services lost revenue. That's the retention bonus. Oh no, I think that's for the police department. That's for the police department. It's under 6, government services and lost revenue. So
Okay.
that
Okay.
so that is the retention bonus. It's $5,000 per employee, and that's for everyone who works for the city is getting a retention bonus, and
Aren't
that's
they
to make,
hiring right now?
yes, and it's
People,
anybody who started work from July on, so it's a little late for it. Um,
but they're still hiring. So livable wages, guys, they're
yes.
hiring.
So $3,799. I believe most of that is going to police raises though, because I think they got a pretty big raise. And then so I would say maybe I think 4 or 5 million of that is going to police to give them raises. And
Whoa.
then the rest is going to the city employees.
Whoa. I'm sorry. You said 4 or 5
Yeah,
million for raises?
for the police, yes. So our police are also underpaid compared to other police organizations, and they're stealing our police from us.
Hmm.
And this is a negotiated union
Hmm.
wage rate, and they get a certain percentage to match inflation. That's what happens when you join a union. You get proper representation, and you have people who negotiate. That's the beauty of being in a union. And if I was in the working field, I would be in a union. I would.
Well, that's definitely
I think
something
it,
that we'll have to talk about in another show,
yes,
unions
yes.
and employment and the benefits and so forth, for sure. So it looks like continuing to go down the line. I did see something about a pool slide.
Oh, that was great. That was wonderful. Isn't that cool?
So
They
it's
need a
on.
pool slide. Yeah, $5 million.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
I
can you
was on
repeat
that
that
vote.
amount?
I was on the vote for that. That was, I'm gonna say this. That was my one mistake that I've made. The No, it was 5 million. That's why I freaked the hell out. Pool slide. No, it's $500,000. That's what it says here, but it was that's coming out of ARPA funds is $500,000. Okay, that's not bad because the pool actually cost $3 million. The slide cost 3 or 5 million. No, it's on. You can look it up. It's on the FedRAC committee.
I know, it's just like a slide. We have people on the street. It's a slide.
Uh huh. But it's
That's
important.
what I
No,
think.
it's very important. And this is the one vote that okay, so for me, I make mistakes. And then I look back on my mistakes and I say, you know what, I'm never going to do that again. And I will never vote against my conscience again for the rest of my life. I was feeling this was when I hadn't felt my confidence yet as a knowledgeable person. I came
Mm.
into this thinking, oh, I'm new. I need to learn. I need to just absorb and be a student, And it turns out I'm actually pretty freaking smart and I don't need to learn anything from anybody. It's
Hey,
exactly
there
what I
you
think
go.
it is. So, no, I do need to learn, but in this space, I know things. I'm not stupid. I can read. We didn't need a
Mm.
freaking slide. Okay, excuse my
Mhm.
language. So that yes, 500,000 came out for a slide, and I'm the one of the people that voted for that in committee, and then it went to city council, and the city council voted for it.
Mm.
And I think I might have voted no on it, but it was a unanimous yes for the slide.
Hmm. So I'm sure people are wondering, about, several line items. I mean, we can go through and pick apart, I'm sure, every single one. But I definitely want everybody to check out, what's proposed, stay in the loop, about these things because it does affect you. What people in these positions are voting on, it does affect you. And so it's important to follow while things are happening as well. Even outside of, election times and so forth, it's really important to know what is going on in the community, what is going on with the funding, because it does affect you. It will affect you.
And let me
So
just add this one thing and I'll shut up. This everything from the 2 5-yard trucks down to the city hall touchless fixtures and all of that. These are things that the city's been putting off because they didn't have the money. And this is important infrastructure that needs to be done. Like street lamps. Do you know that we don't have a fund for fixing street lamps here? These are some of these street lights have been out for 5 or 10 years. They're going to get fixed. So to me, that is great. I am so happy about the street lights because I get to see all the emails from people who don't have their street lights working. I see those every week. There's a whole bunch of stuff on here that we really need to do and we need to fix in the city. And it's just so important because if it's already behind, if we don't get it fixed now, then we won't be able to run this city properly. So those things, I'm advocating for those because if you're running a business, you need to oil the wheels. Otherwise, the wheels will stop turning. Okay. So that's what this is about. And what I want to do, the most important thing for me, the social services support is what's going to go to the people. And I want to try to figure out a way to get money out of some other things up here, like the grant writing services and stuff like that, and be more reasonable with what we're spending on that. And then stick that down with the social services support so we can raise that to $6 million. That's my goal. And then we can work on doing something good with it. Giving people rent vouchers and gas vouchers and utility vouchers. I had a whole list. Now I don't know what I did with it. I had a whole list I had a proposal already written out. I was going to make a motion at the last meeting and it never happened. And since I tried to make the motion, they're probably going to try to drown me out at the next meeting, so I won't do it.
So how do people find out when these meetings are? Because I know that, the collective.
Every other Tuesday.
Right. Those are city council meetings, but I was told, I'll speak for myself, I guess, that the discussion about the funding, how it's going to be spent, the application process, and so forth, that conversation was going to start on the 20th of September. However, it was presented a couple months ago, just surprise, surprise. And it sounds like it's still being presented before the 20th, in which we, told that that's when the process would start.
So imagine what I would say when we're talking privately, and then turn that into something that's proper.
Frankly, I feel like it's completely unacceptable. People need to know it's our money. It is our community, and it is, we're struggling out here. We need help. And we should have a voice and a say in this process. And it almost feels like we're being blocked out.
And people need to show up to the city council meetings. And that part where you get 3 minutes to talk, maybe 100 people should talk for 3 minutes. Keep us there till 1 a.m.
Ooh, did you hear that? Did you guys hear that?
Every single meeting until you get what you want. And then guess what you do? You keep coming and you keep telling them what you want, because the only way you're going to get what you want is to show up and ask for it and say, hey, we're watching you. Why did you allocate these funds? You got to pay attention. The government has to be told to follow its own rules. You have to force the government to follow the government's rules.
that, it's just, this is why we vote. This is why we need to vote. This is why we need to know, who's in office, what's going on. Are people looking out for our best interest? I
What
mean,
if,
this,
Jamila Taylor, she's looking out for your best interest. And I'm not even a Democrat. And I'm telling you right now, that woman is hooking this city up. She is amazing. That woman is doing,
she
I have
is
a lot of
amazing.
respect for what she's doing. I do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I will say this, though. I am not endorsing any candidate. The collective is not endorsing any candidates right now.
I'm not either. I'm just
But
saying I like what she's
have
doing.
we done work with Miss Jamila Taylor? Yes, we have. And it has been just an absolute honor and a pleasure to work with somebody who is so powerful and dynamic.
She's
And
amazing.
just, yeah, that's the word, amazing.
I've told her that. Yeah. And I mean, hey, I have enough respect to know when someone is helping. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you are on. And that's another thing, is we've got to stop identifying each other with letters next to our names.
Well, that's a whole other conversation.
I'm saying that's why they're getting away with this, because there's other groups out there that don't like this either. And y'all don't talk to each other. You talk to me, they talk to me. But if the two of you got together and stood up there.
So give us an example, like what kind of groups are we talking here?
Stand Up Federal Way. You guys want the Black Collective and Stand Up Federal Way. You guys want the same exact things. You want safety. You want prosperity for your families and your community. You want good jobs. You want a nice place to live. You want the crime to go down. You want your kids to have a good education. You might have different ways of approaching that, but you all want the exact same thing.
I think that's where the deterrent is, though, for a lot of, I'm not speaking on behalf of the collective right now, but I'm saying like just people in general, right? I think that's where the clash happens. Just overall, people may want the same things, but the way that they go about it, the two different approaches, is sometimes where that clash happens.
And y'all are you're gonna have to get over it, because the city's burning down. This city is burning down. You are the citizens. I'm married to a white guy. I had to listen to me. I was a woman. I was a militant Black woman, and I fell in love with a white guy. So let me tell you, the two of us being together has changed both of our lives. And I'm trying to tell you, if the two of us can have a successful marriage, and I'm telling you, I was militant, then, and if I can love somebody and we can learn to live together and have a beautiful marriage, what? Oh, you know what else? So one of your members, come on. Oh my gosh, my brain is on. I'm on something else. I'll get to it in a second. If everyone can get together and just agree to work on these things and put everything else aside, and gang up on the gang up. Oh, and gang up on the government and the establishment and demand what you want, and say, this is what we need from you. My phones are ringing. If you can demand what you want together and stop the divide and conquer, then you're going to get results. That's when you will prosper. I'm telling you, I know I'm on my soapbox right now, but this is what I'm seeing from the outside, is everyone needs to look at, this is what we have in common. Let's work on these subjects together. Let's work on this together as a group. Put everything else aside, my issues with you and what you said last year that made me mad. Let's put it aside for now and go conquer this issue. Get it out of the way, move on to the next one. Like Evan Cook. He's holding a meeting once a month. It's a community safety meeting.
Yes.
The first Thursday of the month.
Go check it out.
It's at the Pyramid Mason Lodge, and it's from 6 to 7:30 every first Thursday of the month. And there are people from the Black Collective, and there are people from Stand Up Federal Way who are there every single month. I know because I'm there. I go there every month too.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I think we
we're already
definitely
doing it.
need, I'm not even just talking about like, you know, organizations, right? I'm talking just period. We do need to come together as community and,
Yes,
you know,
please.
focus on the issues. And also, you know, I know I'm going to sound super kumbaya, but like, you know, show love to one another too. You know, if you come from you know, have a good heart and come from a good place and work together so that we can all, you know, see our city grow and be beautiful and see to the success of our, it is a gorgeous place. And, you know, we want to see our children be healthy and happy and thriving and so forth. So yes, absolutely. I think, you know, working together is definitely a beautiful thing. And like I said, I'm not referring to specific organizations or any organization, but just as people, period.
And I'm sorry I went off there. I am. But you know, for me, my biggest dream would be if you guys as two groups got together and kicked our butts at city council. It would be amazing. I would laugh and I'd be so happy. Yell at me. Tell me what we're doing wrong. You know, and then that way maybe we can fix it. That's what I care. I want to fix things.
We also need community to stand up. We need people, just like you were saying, show up and speak out. And you know,
every month,
write in or comment and actually, you know, physically being there, right? There's power in numbers. And when you visually see people standing there, right? And we're all, you need to fix it right now. Closed mouths don't get fed. So we do need to come together. We do need to stand up as a community.
3 minutes of your life every 2 weeks at 6:30. That's all. You wait for what, 10 or 15 minutes to for everyone to read their stuff. And then you get to stand up and talk for 3 minutes. I don't think that's a lot to ask. If you could get 50 people to come and say, hey, I think you should add, you know, make this $6 million for the community. Mm-hmm. You know, figure it out. Mm-hmm. Our community needs this help. We're hurting. We don't know how we're going to feed our kids. We don't know how we're going to pay our rent. We can't afford this gas. Did I get it? Because, honey, let me tell you something. Inflation is not no 8%. Get the heck out of here with that. It's like 30, 50, 60%.
Right.
Did you get a 60% raise this year? Because I didn't.
Exactly. Sure didn't.
If we as a city can help, I know when I was a single mom and I was making $12 an hour cleaning houses, okay, there were times where I couldn't pay my rent. And I was $300 short, and I'd go to a church and a church would give me that money and help me pay my rent.
Yeah.
And that right there was a gift that kept me going for another year till I got to the point where I couldn't pay my rent, and then I'd go somewhere else to a different place. And this is how I lived my life until I got married and started my own business. And when I started my own business, that ceiling disappeared above me, and I was able to just do it and start making money and having abundance. But when I was working for other people, there's a limit to what you can do. You know, I got raises, right? And I was number one in that organization, but I still wasn't making very much money. I was the highest paid employee. I started out as a housekeeper, and I ended up running that company for that lady, but I still could only make a certain amount.
Right.
And that's where I know where everyone is right now. I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is, if we as a city have an opportunity to help every person in this city, if the city council could do this, that would make me so happy. If we would just think about all these people who are on the verge of homelessness right now. If
Right.
we could help keep them in their homes, pay their utilities, give them grocery money,
Oh, yeah.
my heart would be so happy. So
Yeah,
that's what I want. I'm just going to spill it. That's what I want.
absolutely. Well, and I mean, it's like the cost of everything. I mean, right? Look at the cost of childcare. Look at I mean, shoot, that's like a whole mortgage right there for one kid, right? A whole rent payment, several car notes. Like it's so expensive. And
And
then
that
on
was,
top of it, rent, and then,
yeah.
utilities and so forth. I mean, it is very, very expensive. And it's sad because the way that things are set up, if you are evicted from a place,
Then you can't get another one.
yeah, where are you going to live? You have to look for private renters or certain programs, and a lot of them are maxed out. They wonder why there's a growth in the homeless population. It's stuff like this. COVID caused a lot of people to lose their jobs. Once the moratorium was lifted, there were a lot of people that still couldn't pay. And so, yeah, they came up with payment plans, but people are still struggling. They're still very much behind and or barely able to catch up. Most people are one paycheck away from being homeless,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know? So that is a huge issue. And maybe instead of throwing so much money, yes, we do need shelters, we do need other options. However, we really do need to work at keeping people in their homes
Oh,
and
guess
finding
what?
ways to do it.
I have ideas already. So I met with the community services director this
Mm.
week, and we talked about everyone who's getting help is going to be also enrolled in a budget planning course. We're going to give them help.
Mm.
Yes, girl. I'm
That's
so
awesome.
excited. Yeah,
I
that's
love
why
that.
I am so excited. If I could just do this, if this is what my legacy is
Mm.
just to help people learn. I never knew how to make a budget. I'm like 30 years old. Somebody sat me down and showed me how to figure out my money,
Yeah.
because I didn't come from a family that did that. My family didn't do that. My mom
Mm.
barely made it. We lived on food stamps. Sometimes we were homeless. That's just the way things were. My mom
Mm.
loved her alcohol. She liked her beer and her Doritos. That was important. and so I grew up in a certain way.
Mm.
And then as an adult, I live my life that way. And so I
Mm.
got somebody sat me down and taught me how to write a budget for myself based
Mm.
on how much I was making. And I'm not saying that everybody has enough money to make a budget, but at least you can see what you need
Mhm.
and what you can possibly cut out. Just like, for example, we wanted to take our family on vacation. And I
Mm.
and I priced it out, and this was like what, 10 years ago, and I knew it was going to cost a certain amount of money. So I turned our cable off for a year. I turned our alarm service off for a year. I mean, we cut down on all kinds of stuff so that we could afford the $15,000 and we
Mhm.
saved up. It took us what, 2 years to save that money up. But I went without for a lot of stuff, and we
Mhm.
even had our phone service cut down to like the bare minimum, no data, all of that,
Mhm.
so that we
Mhm.
could pay to take the on his kids and my kids and the grandkids on vacation for a week.
Mm.
But that's
Yeah.
because I learned how to budget and I learned how
Right.
to stick
Right.
to it. So that's an opportunity that I was discussing this week with the community services. It's amazing. She's got some great ideas. Sarah Bridgeford, she's a really good person to talk to. She knows the ins and outs of
So
this.
people might not know who she is. Who is Sarah Bridgeford?
Well, I saw her at a Black Collective meeting with the city. She was speaking on behalf of the city one day. She was with Brian Davis. So she works for the city. She's actually under Brian Davis. And what she does is she helps organize the allocation of funds to go to the community. That's her job. And she really
Mm-hmm.
cares. We did some brainstorming and we had a great meeting. I mean, we just, I love to talk. So it was wonderful. And I left there feeling so good because she's got these ideas and
Mm-hmm.
she just wants to help the community, not just give you fish, teach you to fish.
That part right there. Teach you to fish.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Because you can eat once, right? But how do you continue to eat?
Right.
So
So
that's
if we give you your rental assistance, how about we help you do something like take a class, take a parenting class, take a these are free services that are offered. We can line people up with, or the
mhm,
city can subcontract an organization to help people learn how to start a savings account, which most people can't afford right now because the prices of everything's too high. But
mhm.
learn how to take your money, divide it up properly, save it. What was funny when I first married my husband, he said, "Honey, just because there's money in the bank, it doesn't mean you have to spend it." And I went, "What? You mean you mean I could just leave it in there?"
It could just stay.
What? No, and I know that sounds silly to a lot of people, but for somebody like me who the thought never came to my mind. I
Mhm.
know I can't be the only one. Am I the only one?
I don't know. I mean, personally, I grew up, I grew up with a mom, single mom. And yeah, we had tough times. And I watched my mom, work hard, very hard. My dad, he worked at one point he worked three different jobs. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah. And we were still eating fried bologna sandwiches. But
I love fried bologna
I do
sandwiches
too. I still like them.
with mustard.
Yes, that's the only way to do it. But yeah, so I mean, I watched my parents, work so hard and they had a tough time. And it put a fight in me, so I work hard too. But a lot of people work really hard, but don't necessarily have people around. My parents had people in their lives that helped them to understand how to make certain moves so that they could come up, right? Um,
Right.
my parents were able to teach me a few things, but there's still a lot that they didn't even teach me that I had to seek out mentors and people to help me learn. And I'm still learning. Listen, I am no pro. Um, still, but not everybody has access to people like that. Not everybody has access to services like that. So it is a big piece of being able to come up and grow, is having financial mentorship. So to have something, not only do you receive financial help, but you're also receiving financial mentorship. That's
Yes.
that's dope. That's beautiful.
Ah,
That's necessary. I love that. Make it
so
happen. um
I'm so excited about this. I'm telling
yes.
because it changed my life forever.
Hmm.
Forever. Taking a parenting class. One time a church gave me money for rent and they made me take a parenting class.
Hmm.
And I was so mad. I was like, "Oh, tell me how to be a mom." Well, it turned out to be a wonderful blessing. I'm so glad I took that class. I'm so
Hmm.
glad I learned things about myself and the way I communicate and how
Yeah.
to communicate more effectively with my daughter. And she was a part of the class too. So she got to have her input, when I was like, "You're a kid. I don't care what you have to say." But, that
Oh, that's a
changed. I
whole other
changed.
thing. That's a whole other conversation that I
But
could
I
go into. That's a
changed.
whole other
That
topic.
one class taught me how to effectively communicate with my daughter in a better
Yeah.
way so that she felt like she was a part of it.
Mm.
And even though she really wasn't, but I'm just joking. No, she is we had a great relationship. I love my daughter. It's just there's so many things you can learn. For me at least, I believe that I was put on this planet to grow and learn and prosper. I never want
Mm.
to stop learning. I always want to learn to read. I love reading. I love research. I love having my eyes opened. I love learning that I might be wrong about something so that I can change and do better.
Mhm.
And I think everybody has that opportunity. And if we as a city can give that to other people, and I
Right,
can see that light in people's eyes and see
right.
that come on, oh my gosh, that's the best feeling in the world to me. Hopefully other people will get it too.
Well, and also, I mean, kind of going back to, community and investing in ARPA funds, the chamber, we talked about, a line item being the Chamber of Commerce, which you said, they did drop off. However, the fact that they were on there for a while, you said I mean, they receive dues from members, right? Like that's kind of how they make money.
Yeah,
Um,
banks and um, wealthy corporations and governmental agencies, and they're already getting our tax dollars in many, many ways. And I don't understand. That's a good old boys club. The Chamber of Commerce is a good old boys club.
hmm.
If you go look at their membership roster,
Hmm.
it just is what it is, and it's okay.
I did review some of the fees, and I mean, in my opinion, being a small business owner, it looked a little much.
What
That's
are they
my
going to do? But what can
opinion.
they do for you?
Um,
I'm a small business owner, and I never joined because I didn't see any benefit for myself. Um, because of the niche that I'm in, there's really
yeah,
no point in me joining the Chamber of Commerce.
there are a lot of amazing benefits though to the Chamber of Commerce. I will say that I do have friends that have benefited so much from it.
Good.
However, it is something that kind of looking at the line items there, it's like, it is a business. There's a lot of other businesses that help uplift and promote other businesses and other groups in the community. So eh, I'm happy to hear though that things have shifted a bit. So tell me a little bit about that. We went through the line items. It seemed like a lot of the money overall was being spent in maybe I'm just gonna flat out say it wasn't being spent right. The way it was lined out, it was not okay. And
No,
frankly, only $3 million. I mean, look at the total pot. You have $19 million, $19.2 million, and only $3 million is going to community.
maybe you should make better friends, Felicia.
Oh, I guess
Then you
so.
could have gotten some. Okay,
Yep. Darn.
that's your fault. My husband's saying nobody knows you're being sarcastic. Yeah, I think it's kind of obvious. Um, so I think that we should give those people who have put so much thought and effort into a farmer's market their seed money so they can get this thing going. Because a farmer's market is a creation of micro organizations.
Mm-hmm.
I am a micro organization. That's what I've been up until 2 years ago. I've been a micro organization and I make plenty of money. You're a micro organization until you're doing $2 million of gross annual revenue.
Interesting.
So I'm still a micro organization. I call myself a small business, but I'm really a big nobody. And no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm a big
I believe
nobody.
everybody is somebody, but okay.
I'm a very comfortable big nobody. In the business world, a micro organization is wonderful for communities. They could be having up to 100, 150 businesses in one location serving the community of the community. Think about all the taxes that we'd be collecting. Think about the
Mm-hmm.
fact that every dollar that is spent is going to come back into the community. It's mind blowing, and it supports
Right.
people who live here who are going to spend
Right.
their money in the community. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
come on, it's a no brainer.
Well, I
It's a
also
no
saw
brainer.
too that a report saying that minority owned businesses, especially Black owned small businesses, were actually most affected by COVID, by the pandemic.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And that, this is the point of that funding. It needs to go into community. It needs to go to people. It's a result of, the pandemic and saying, hey, communities need help, people need help, small businesses need help. I'm not yeah, anyways, I could go over that over and over again. But I digress. But let's talk about the update. So you said that there was a recent city council meeting, and there was a little pop off. So
It
what's
wasn't
the
me.
tea? What happened? What's going on? Fill us
Um,
in.
I got a little bit irritable, which what a surprise. And yeah, I kind of some people aren't very happy with me, but I called everyone out on the BS the with the ARPA funds, and then someone had a brilliant idea, one that I had asked for 3 separate times in 3 different meetings. I asked for a special meeting so we could openly discuss the ARPA funds, the whole city council together, not just the secret scroll group, right? And I'd asked for this over and over and over again, and I was ignored. Well, guess what? Someone else brought it up, and now we're going to have an open discussion about it at our next city council meeting. Oh no, it's on the schedule. It's going to be at 5 o'clock at the next city council meeting. Isn't that great?
So
That was
5
such a
o'clock.
great idea for that other person to have. Thanks. Yeah. So I was a little irritable about that. And then I was yelling at people. And so I wasn't exactly on my best behavior, but when am I on good behavior? Never.
I mean, here's the thing. When you're passionate, sometimes passion can get a little
This is your money. That's
right.
your money. It's
Right.
yours. And I pay a lot of taxes, so that's my money too. But I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay. I'm okay. I'm doing okay. I want everyone who is hurting to get some of this. I want everyone who's worried about how they're going to pay their next rent to get their next rent paid.
Right.
Because I've been there. I think the reason why I'm so upset and I'm so personally offended by this is because I have been there more than once. As a single mom, struggling, and just coming up out of, well, everybody knows I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict. So when I got sober, I lost everything. It took me losing everything I had to get sober. So that's when I started over. That's when I was making $12 an hour. That's when I was saying, how the hell am I going to pay my rent? What am I going to do? Look what I did to my life. I even lost my car. How do you lose your vehicle? Oh, you drink it away. That's what you do. And so I'm saying, I've been there. I know what it's like to hide in my bedroom and cry, wondering, because away from my daughter, so she couldn't hear me crying, and have a pillow over my face because I didn't know how I was going to pay rent, and I was worried about keeping a roof over my daughter's head. I know what that feels like.
It's the worst feeling.
I think I that stuff comes back up when I see people suffering, and that's why I get so irritable and I yell and I'm all outrageous.
But you've experienced it. You've gone through it,
yes.
and so it's not from a place of oh, those people. It's
No,
a place
those are
of
my people.
those are my people. I've been through that, and I get it. Like, you truly get it. You truly
Have you
get
had
it.
your lights shut off before because you didn't pay? Because I have. I've ran out of gas taking my daughter to school because I didn't have money for gas. Do you know what? I used to hide money in different bank accounts so that, like, sometimes I would have 50 cents here, 60 cents there, 20 cents there, and I would just collect it all so I could buy a loaf of bread. And then I would, what I would do? There were many times where I would go hungry for 2 or 3 weeks until my food stamps came back in. because they'd only give me $100 a month. Oh, because $12 an hour, you make too much money, right?
Woo,
Right?
that is a
So
whole
a
thing right
hundred
there.
$100 a month, I had to make that last. So guess who ate?
Mm-hmm,
My daughter ate.
mm-hmm,
Guess who didn't eat?
mm-hmm,
Me.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
if you think I don't know what suffering is, I'm telling you, I know. And I don't
Yeah,
want to see other people go through this. It hurts me. If I don't want anyone in my presence to be hungry or to worry about
right,
or crying in their pillow and hiding from their kids so their kids don't know that they may not have a roof over their heads. You
right,
know, nobody
right.
deserves anybody who works full time should not be having this experience.
Mm-hmm,
It's
mm-hmm.
not okay with me.
Sure, there's people that are working 2, 3
Two
jobs,
jobs. It's
you
not
know,
okay. It's
and
just not.
it's
We're
like
not all right.
it just ties into so much, I mean, you're talking about um you know um addictions, and people,
Then there's
you know
that.
pe- people I've heard a lot of stories where people start turning to alcohol, they start turning to numb
Oh
because they're
yeah,
so, it's
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, it's living in this fear. It's also the health factors, right? Like living under so much stress, that's high blood pressure, that leads, it can lead to diabetes, it could lead to, kidney failure, it could, all sorts of things, right? All sorts of health issues, which then how how are you going to be able to see somebody? How are you going to be able to afford that? It spirals into so many other areas and so many different things. You have people working 2, 3 jobs. They are not able to be home with their teenagers at
No.
night.
And then
They're
there's
not,
that.
you know, it's all of it. And so funding like this helps with those issues. And it's not that, it sucks that not everybody's able to get, let's say $5,000, $10,000, right? Would not be freaking amazing.
It
um
would. I could
However,
think of how we could do it, but we already gave it to another country. So never mind. Oops.
ARPA funding, so
Everybody could have been out of poverty, but no.
that's okay. I'm not going to touch that one right now. Stick to ARPA funds. But yes, I hear you 1,000%, and I have so many opinions about that. But we could talk all day. We would be
We're not
on
allowed to say that out loud, though. Otherwise,
on
we're
this
bad.
camera all day. Um,
I
so
can't believe you did this. You know how much we go on and on and on. You know, I never shut up for 1 minute. Like, why would you even do this? Why?
because it's awesome. Because it's awesome.
Once I
It's good
start yelling,
conversation.
you can't shut me up. I'm like, ah! So what the hell? Why would you have me on here?
Because it's a good conversation and people need to hear it.
Oh my god!
It's hot mess city a little bit, yeah.
You should have known. You should have known. I told you.
I love it. I love it. Hey, listen, I bet you a lot of people are about to watch this because they're getting educated, the tea and then some. So it's good stuff. So how much was it changed to though, right? Last it was listed at 3 million, and you said how much did it go to?
Right now, I can't make promises. Don't hold me to this. I believe it's up to 4 million, and I'd like to see it somehow get to 6 million. That's my wish.
And so can
I
we show
know.
up to the city council meetings and say, hey,
Yes,
hi,
show up at 5 o'clock. If you can get there at 5 o'clock, there will be a public comment time, and nobody has given public comment. I think 1 or 2 people have on the ARPA funds.
really?
Yes, nobody's talking
Oh,
about it. I need 100 people there. I need it to be standing room only.
so we're
You want your
calling
rent paid?
calling for
Come and ask for
action,
it.
calling for action.
Yes.
That's what we're doing.
Come
Yeah.
and ask for that money. It's your money.
So
It's
I
already
did
your money.
Right. Well, here's another thing though, right? So they're discussing an application process for these
Yeah,
funds as well.
that's a federal thing.
So how do people access or know anything about what that process might look like?
So here's how it's going to go. Once we allocate the funds, then they're going to hire another agency to distribute the funds. We can't directly give people funds. So we're going to hire Multi-Service Center or Catholic Community Services and some other group to, and I'm not saying those are the organizations, it'll be organizations like them. Catholic Community Services paid my rent one time back in the day, 15 years ago. They did. So I got to give them that. So we will be hiring one of those organizations. We will allocate the funds to them, and then they will hand it out. They'll be given very specific directions, and then they will also be providing the classes. So here's the deal. You go in, you ask for the ARPA relief funds for your utilities. You go and you sit through a how to do a budget class, and then you get your check.
So let's say it's for organizations though, right? Or small businesses.
So
That sounds like the process might be a little different.
They're working on right now they're working on the application. We haven't allocated the funds. They can't do anything until we say, here's the money. We haven't given them the money yet. So how can they get to work on anything when they don't even know what they're working with? If they don't know what they're going to get, how can they even go about making a program?
Right.
We have to take action as a city council and say, here, community services, there you go, figure it out. And I would like to hopefully get some money allocated so that people can get their families in the community center and get community center passes, because that can help offset the cost of daycare for people.
Yeah.
And it'll give kids access to all of those facilities. The other thing is they're already, and here's another cool thing that has nothing to do with the ARPA funds. I've been working on this in the background, and I don't talk about stuff that I'm doing because I'm scared it's going to ruin it. But I found out that they are going to be allowing a lot of the local groups that are the Black groups, that are the nonprofits like Winston Bell's Game of Life, and those, and the fabulous, what is it? Fabulous
Phenomenal She.
Phenomenal She. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. It's after my bedtime. It really is. I go to bed at 8, so it's like way past my bedtime. So my brain's already cuckoo anyway. But they're going to be letting them use our facilities.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, I'm so
awesome.
excited. Yes. So the nonprofits will be able to have their meetings and their classes and help the community for free in our buildings.
Yes.
Woo-hoo!
That is awesome.
Yeah, they've been asking for so long. Yeah. And they just give them the dang rooms. Let them have the rooms. Come on now. And maybe that meeting that Evan is having over at the Masonic Temple can get moved into a city facility too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's in the Masonic Temple because they gave me a deal on it. I'm paying for that.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm paying for that room so
personally.
That the community. So yes, so the community can have. I got a good deal on it. That's why it's there, and I signed a 2-year lease. So we're coming up on a year. We need to get it moving. Oh no, we just did 6 months, so it's prepaid. Y'all got everybody. The community can have that room once a month for a year, or for another year and a half. And then I'd like to see it moved into one of the city places, so it's easier to find a good location. You can fit more people in there, and people start working together to try to get some safety going, get the kids stuff to do. And
Right.
he's running an amazing meeting. Oh my gosh, the last meeting was amazing. So I love it. He is so smart,
He
and
is.
he's a really good guy. I'm so glad that he's doing this. I really am. I'm so impressed. I've been getting to know a lot of people in the community since I started with all this political stuff, and it's making me happy.
I love
It is.
that. Love to
It
hear
is.
that. So yeah, this is great news though.
Yeah.
Um, you guys check it out. Please come to the city council meetings. We have it
Yeah.
listed. If you don't go to the city's page and find it, you can also find the information on the Federal Way Black Collective's website, as well as on our Facebook page. We post when the city council meetings are. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, you can feel free also to email us. I'm sure we'll be able to find Erica,
Well, if you need to get a hold of me,
email
just
her.
yeah, email me on the city council thing and I'll call you. Especially if you call me names, I will call you.
Well,
No, I will. And I'll be like, what did I do? And you know what? I'm telling you, I have actually met some incredible people and we have sat down and talked things through. People who
mm-hmm,
didn't like me, we
mm-hmm,
get along now because
mm-hmm.
they said, hey, I don't like you. You're a mess, whatever. And then I'm like, hey, okay, let's talk about this. And then we
Right.
figure it out. I'm willing to sit down and talk to anybody. If you
That's
have
awesome.
issues, whatever, just call me. I'm
Or
a
you
human
just want
being.
information, or you're,
I'll
concerned,
tell you. I'll
or
tell you the
or
truth.
or you're confused. I mean, it doesn't always have to be like beef, right? Like it could be like, hey, hey, she's really cool. I want to know her better. I want to know what kinds of things that she, is doing out here in the community and the moves that she's making, get to know you too.
Yeah,
So
just call me. You know what? I am an open book. I am not, there's nothing about me that should frighten anyone, except I'll probably talk your ear off for 4 hours. Other than that, I mean, like, I'm very friendly and I don't have a lot of airs about me. I'm just a regular person. I'm like everybody, and
Mhm.
I've been through so many hard times. I don't have any judgments on anybody about anything they're doing, where you are, any place you are in life right now. There's
Mhm.
always hope for you to rise up out of where you are and be the best person you can be.
Absolutely.
Because I did it. If I could do it, and I've still got a lot of work to go. But if I could do it, anybody can do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so grateful that you joined us tonight. And
So
there's
nice to see
lots
you.
of fun and good information. You guys, please, please, please show up to these city council meetings. Please, look up ARPA funding. Do some Google searches or whatever. But learn about what's going on in the community. Learn about the people that are representing you. You want people that are going to stand up for you and your best interests as they're serving in their position. And so, with elections coming up, check us out on Why We Vote. Google www.ledge.wa.gov has some information about candidates. There's many other sites. The Black Collective also has a link where you can check out the candidates that are running for office in South King County. And so yeah, there's lots of different forums that are going on. Educate yourself, go on YouTube, what have you. And know who's running, who's representing you, so that when it is time to vote, you're voting for your best interest, for the person that's going to be representing you the best. So,
Yes.
yes, with that being said, thank y'all so much for joining us tonight on another
Bye.
episode of Why We Vote, and have a wonderful weekend.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Oh, did she hang up? Oh my God.